Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. My name is Jessica Healey, and I'm a public health officer at the United States Agency for International Development here in Lusaka, Zambia. So I'm here to talk with you today about this coming Sunday, October 11th, which is the International Day of the Girl Child. This is something that you had to cut.
Yeah.
So this year, the International Day of the Girl Child, the theme is the power of the adolescent girl, the vision for 2030. So why do you think there may be an International Day of the Girl Child? What makes this young woman from Zambia important? Is there any reason we might want to draw particular attention to girls and young women? So adolescence is a period of great change, whether you're in Zambia, the United States, or anywhere else in the world. It's the time of life when when a girl becomes a young woman. And it's an exciting time to move into adulthood, but it's also a period of some risk and uncertainty. It's a period where particularly girls and young women face a number of risks. They face the risks of not being able to stay in school and complete their education. They face a risk of early marriage. Some may face a risk of early and unwanted pregnancy. And some, unfortunately, face the risk of acquisition of HIV/AIDS. All of these have long-term consequences. On December 19th, 2011, the United States General Assembly declared October 11th as the International Day of the Girl Child. They did this for the reason to recognize that girls' rights are important and also to acknowledge the unique challenges girls face around the world. In past years, some of the themes for the International Day of the Girl were on education and also on child marriage. And this year it's on the power of the adolescent, the power that she has to make great change when she's supported and empowered. So I'd like to share a video with you now. It's one that I find very powerful, and I think it echoes the message of this year's International Day. Great, so I hope you enjoyed that video. I think it's powerful. And you, in the video, wanting to think about what you can do Great, so I hope you enjoyed that video. I think it's a powerful one and has a very good message about the role we can all play to support young girls and adolescents. It was developed by the Nike Foundation. So what do we know globally about the girl child and adolescence? How many girls do you think in developing countries finish primary school? And how many do you think are married before they're 15? What kind of impact do you think it has on an entire country if you educate a young woman? These are some of the statistics that we share globally. So 1 in 7 girls were married before they're 15. And look at that impact that having more girls going to school has on a country's gross domestic product. These are powerful numbers. And I think to begin with change, you have to begin with knowledge of the situation. So what do we know in Zambia? I know some of you who are listening to this are in Copperbelt province. And you likely know that according to the recent Demographic and Health Survey, the Copperbelt province has the highest prevalence of HIV in the country. I think that was shocking to some who would have thought, well, it has to be Lusaka, or maybe it's an area that's more rural. But in Copperbelt province, over 18% of the population has HIV. So what do we know about adolescent girls and young women in Zambia? So overall, the HIV prevalence among 15 to 24-year-olds is 10.7% in urban areas. And once you get to the age 20 to 24, that's really where we see the spike. So that means that over 1 in 10 young women 20 to 24 has HIV. And what do adolescent girls and young women in Zambia know about HIV? Here we see that among 15 to 19-year-olds, around 40% have comprehensive knowledge. Once they get older, it's still just at 44%. So among 15 to 19-year-olds, about half have been tested for HIV and received their results. And here's some information on condom use at last high-risk sex, and experience of gender-based violence. I think these numbers are striking, and it says we have a lot to do. This is mainly focused on HIV, but it does highlight some of the challenges. So I'm coming from the United States Agency for International Development. We're the principal arm of the U.S. government for development assistance. So what are we doing to support adolescent girls in Zambia? I just wanted to highlight a few things for you here. First, we have something that we're launching right now called the DREAMS Initiative. This is to reduce HIV among adolescent girls. Our approach is multi-pronged. We're taking many different approaches to address this complicated problem. The first is particularly focusing in Ndola, Chingola, and Lusaka to make sure young girls are staying in school. The second is to make sure that those who are at risk have safe spaces where they can go and get information about HIV, testing and counseling, financial planning, family planning options so that they can plan when and how they want to have their children, and also on gender-based violence. So for those who are experiencing violence, they have access to services. This is going to be an important initiative for us, and we're excited to work with you in Copperbelt and others in Lusaka to make it happen over the coming 2 years. So USAID also supports menstrual hygiene, particularly at the schools. We have comprehensive programs on sexual and reproductive health so that young men and young women know their family planning options, what their rights are, and how, again, they can plan their family in a way that's safe and meets their needs. We also support girls and young women to stay in school. We have a number of maternal health activities to encourage young women when they are pregnant to seek antenatal care and to recognize the complications that come up during pregnancy. We also work hand in hand with the government of Zambia to address gender-based violence. We support one-stop centers currently run by the government in Ndola, Chingola, and in Lusaka, and a number of other districts as well. And those are places where anyone, regardless of age, can go and get comprehensive services for abuse, whether it be sexual, physical, financial, or other. We've also joined with the government and a number of other partners to fight child marriage in Zambia. We feel strongly that if a girl can wait until after she's 18 to be married, she has a greater chance of finishing school, having a healthy child, and having a better and more productive life. So what can you do? And where can you go for more information? These are just a few examples, but for anyone who's under 15, they can call the number 611 to get information about HIV, about any type of violence or bullying, and to get support from counselors who offer anonymous and individualized counseling. For those of you who are older, if you or someone you know is experiencing any type of violence or has questions about HIV or other services, you can call 990. It's a number for Lifeline. For adolescents in particular, there's something called the U Report that's supported by the National AIDS Council along with other partners. And you can text JOIN, join, to the number 878. And this is for individualized counseling on HIV, sexually transmitted infections, and other related questions. You can also follow the USAID and US Embassy Facebook pages to find out more about what we're doing and to give your input about what you think and your recommendations. So since this is recorded, there's not an opportunity right now for you to ask any questions directly, but I think you can go to the different websites for the State Department and USAID and send your questions in or send your comments in. This is an area that's important to us and I know to many of you. So thank you, and I hope you on October 11th you join with us to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child, and that each of you listening thinks of a way you can support the girls and adolescents in your life. And make sure if you are a girl or an adolescent that you're thinking about your own future and shooting for the stars. So thank you again.